Hey everyone, this is Life in Motion. I'm Heather. This is Jamie. This is the summer of sex. We're wrapping this up. And if you can't tell, we are feeling the love today.
The love. We are. Just so you guys know, to get a sneak peek into our life, we don't try to dress alike. It just happens. We don't mean to. In fact, we try not to. It just happens, but we're feeling the love in our red. We're going to share some of our findings and our experiences from this summer in our own lives. And we think you're going to enjoy it. So come along with us and let's get started.
Do we need to just start talking, or do we need to intro?
We can do the intro at the end.
I didn't necessarily have something to say, but I was waiting in case something came out funny and you spit your drink. Let's see. Summer of sex.
Yes.
What's the high and the low for you? What is
of what we've talked about?
Yeah, maybe, or your biggest surprise of what we've talked about? Or
I think the biggest surprise, and maybe also the high, is that this was not as hard of a topic as I thought it was going to be. In fact, I don't know why people aren't talking about it. I think that was my surprise and my high. We can affect change.
Yeah.
I think if we could just get the whole world to listen, people would be in a far better place. That's what I think.
Are you in a better place?
You know what? There's something, and I find that this is how I think the Lord works in and through me sometimes, which is probably wise because I can tend to be arrogant and I think I know a lot of things. And usually when I feel like the Lord uses me the most is when I just say something off the cuff and then I go, oh, that was really good. And there was something in the menopause episode or talking with Dr. Carrie Anthony that I said and it struck her. And then I thought maybe it should have struck me more, where I said, I used to think that women got the raw end of the deal. Mm-hmm. And maybe this is how God intended it all along, so that you would have to continually pursue your spouse. Mm-hmm. And because Dr. Carrie had an aha moment when I said that, I took that to heart and have thought, I think at 49, I can better pursue my spouse. Mm-hmm. And I think that will serve our marriage well.
And that really struck me as well, because one of my biggest learnings over this summer was how much communication is a part of sex. Yeah. That it's not just, oh, I'm feeling good, let's do it. Yeah. But it's a whole, it's an aspect to your relationship that deepens the intimacy, and that pursuit doesn't just happen naturally.
Yes.
And especially as you get older, it's kind of like it would be easy to give up.
I get it. And I know this will sound probably anti-Christian, but I get it why marriages fail at the season of life that we're in, as libido drops and because your body's no longer trying to get pregnant. Mm-hmm. Some of that desire is just waning. And it's up to you to stir up the gifts.
Yes.
Scripture would say about the Holy Spirit or whatever, to stir up the gifts, to pursue your spouse, to make it a priority. And I don't know, I think maybe my biggest learning this summer was it's up to me. Mm-hmm. It's up to me to pursue Brian when I want to and when I don't want to. And isn't that life?
Yeah.
Isn't that life as a believer? Pursue the Lord when you want to and when you don't want to. Choose wisely. And I want to do that in my marriage relationship as well.
The learning for me was even how much of a challenge it was, for many different reasons that I won't bore you with the details.
Please do.
Oh, really?
No, well, I don't know. It depends what we're going to talk about. I don't know.
It was difficult this summer to connect with Whit, not just physically, but different things happening, lots of different things happening, that it wasn't as easy as I thought it would be. And it's kind of like there's still learning and work to be done.
Sure.
I'm looking forward to the kids going back to school because I feel
Sure.
like that's going to open up a new chapter in our
Yeah.
relationship.
Yeah. I do think it's worth saying what has made some of your summer so difficult, because that might help.
Okay, well, one thing that we are figuring out that kind of snuck up on us is Whit has been on the carnivore diet.
Okay.
And so he eats at odd times of the day.
Yeah.
And generally doesn't eat any meals with us.
Okay.
So
That connection point.
has been missing, and
Oh,
and
wow.
it kind of just snuck up on us. So
Yeah.
it even took us a couple of months to realize he and I have not had a meal together. You know, we've chit chat or something,
Sure.
but we haven't sat down
Yeah.
face to face, and because that's a lot of times what we'll do is we'll go out to dinner
Sure.
and reconnect. And
Yeah.
since we are not eating meals together very often, not 100%,
Sure.
but it's not on a regular basis like it has been in the past. And we just kind of didn't even realize it was happening.
Yeah.
And the kids being home for
Sure.
school is, another thing where you're like, there's other people to tend to during
Right.
the day. They're there in the evenings.
Yeah.
Older kids are having their friends over in the evenings and
Right.
things like that. So it's, the opportunities for us to be alone are very
Sure.
few and far between.
Sure.
And then we have had to do some construction this summer. We had a plumbing issue, and so had to have some major construction. So that's kind of put the whole household in upheaval.
Well, and not just a construction project, but a construction project attached to your room.
Yeah.
Because it's your bathroom
Oh,
connected.
yeah.
It's,
Yeah.
That's a little bit different even than somebody working in your house on the other side of the house. It's just people in your own personal space.
So it's kind of like all of these things compounding. I see a strain and how quickly things can go downhill
Yeah.
if you're not vigilant about. And I'm not even just talking about sex.
Sure.
I'm just talking about your communication, your connection.
Sure.
So that's probably, I kind of thought April, May, had a conversation with Whit and was
Right.
like, hey, this is going to be the summer of sex. And
Right.
then I'm
It's gonna be the most amazing summer of our lives.
Actually, not really. So I just like, that's kind of disappointing
Yeah. Yeah. That's
the way
interesting.
that turned out. It's kind of like you have to plan
Yeah.
for it because there were so many things that crept up on us that stole time and opportunity.
Sure. I think there's some level of freedom that I have found in knowing that I'm not alone in potentially lower libido or this or that. Like part of this is the season of life I'm in, and to be able to go like, I'm not broken. I just have to work harder than somebody that's 20 years younger than me or what have you. And I think that's one of the things that I'm proud of us for, that we've been able to shine a light on subject matter that people don't always talk about, because I think it has the potential to set people free. Even younger people, when I met with the young adult that was talking about like, I'm not sure, I'm a newlywed and I'm not sure if my marriage is going well because we're only having sex 3 times a week or whatever. And I was like, wow, that's a lot.
Yeah.
And for her to be like, oh, really? And all of a sudden just take a deep breath. I think that, I do think that there's sanctity in the marriage bed, and there's parts of your life that you don't share with other people. But I think when we take that too far to an extreme where no one shares anything, you can't help the next generation and go like, I think you're doing just fine.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know anything about what happens in our bedroom, but I know enough to go like, hey, take a deep breath. You're doing great.
Yeah.
And you're putting pressure on yourself that doesn't need to be there. So I'm proud of us for just, I don't know, pulling back the curtain just enough to where we're not talking about things that cross the line. There have been people that I've talked to that have been hesitant to listen to this season. And now that we've recorded it, I go, what do you think we're talking about?
Yeah.
Like, Because I was nervous at first. I was really, really nervous. I can't believe we've committed to this, and we've committed to a whole summer. And I mean, I've done tons of research, and I was wildly uncomfortable about some of the research at the front. And then even some of the findings where we go, there's stuff we're not going to talk about. Like, and I think it's the things that are making people nervous. Like, there's some stuff that it's none of our business to discuss. But on the flip side, for people that haven't listened, I go like, oh, how sad. Because I think we've helped. I really do. So my husband listened to the Summer of Sex.
Did he learn anything?
He loved Dr. Carrie Anthony, which I was just like, wow, thanks, babe. Like, Heather and I are really good. But he wasn't going to listen. He said, I hear enough of the two of you as it is. And I was a little bit offended. Yeah. And so he listened, I think, as a gift to me, and then found that, like, this is actually good for our people, good for our church, good for the world and the international listeners too, I think.
I think so.
I think so too. But yeah, I think it's been good.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot that Dr. Carrie Anthony helped me with personally. And I think part of it is normalizing the conversation. She does it every day. So she says things without blushing that maybe I would have blushed about before. And now I go, oh, I see how that would be important. Like when she said it to us off air when we met with her ahead of recording. And then I think she said it on the recording also, where like, women, you need to know what your body looks like. She talked about getting a mirror and taking a look at yourself and sitting on the bed. She said this, sitting on the bed with your spouse for non-sexual reasons, just sitting naked to connect or whatever. Just like, I can't even hardly listen to her say these things. But because she does this for a living, she's not embarrassed by it. It's very normalized for her. And I do think, like, how do you notice if there's something changing in your body that needs a doctor or needs attention? Or like, it's wild to me that God gave me this body and then like I have to close my eyes when I change my clothes, or what have you. She changed my perspective in normalizing things that probably should have been normalized since I was a little girl. And then trying to raise a little girl into a young woman without some of the issues that I have.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's probably with Dr. Carrie, and then also just over reading and things is talking to my girls, which they range in age from 21 to 12. Yeah. And so, how do I get them from pure in their dating relationships, a healthy perspective of sex, and then also moving into marriage and how having those open conversations to normalize all of this so that they are going into their marriage eyes wide open. So they're not coming to somebody in the church and be, like, am I normal? Is this right?
Let me help my own kids. Yeah. Like, first take care of our house and then help others.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've even had a couple of conversations with my boys. They do not want to listen to the podcast and all the things. It's fine. But I think it'd be helpful. But just sprinkling learnings into conversations that are not so in your face as maybe I would be on the podcast, but just sprinkling findings in, even as Eleanor's growing up, being able to tell them some of the things that she's going through, because I think it will help them. And not necessarily saying, let me teach you about the woman's body, but just having normal conversations.
Well, even so, I saw this reel of a woman bending over in a store, and it looks like she's bled through her pants.
Oh, man.
And some guy walks up to her and he says, I think you have bled through your pants. Yeah. And she's like, oh my gosh, thank you so much for telling me. Yeah. And she was like, this was actually a social experiment of who would stop me and tell me, or would they just let me go on about my day with blood on my pants? Yeah. And so, she gave him like $100 Walmart gift card or something because he won the prize for being normal.
Wow. Wow, that's fascinating. I might get in trouble for telling this story, and I think it's worth it. Chase, when he was in first grade, Chase is very, very tender-hearted. And when he was in first grade, I can't remember if he told me this story or his teacher did, that there was a little girl in circle time that when she sat down, her jeans dipped low enough that you could see her little crack. And he was so concerned that she would be embarrassed, that he instead embarrassed himself and leaned over and whispered in her ear and said, "You need to pull your pants up." But what a sweet story. But then would one of my boys do that for a female later in life? Like there's, and I don't know how you say that, because that's a pretty sensitive, there's blood on your pants. That's a pretty sensitive thing to say.
Yeah.
But
I mean, here's one of my most embarrassing stories.
okay.
Here we go.
Oh, good.
I was probably about 14 or 15 years old, and my monthlies had occurred, and I go to the state fair.
Oh, no.
And am hanging out with my friends, riding rides, and I was only wearing a pad. So you're being jostled around, I guess. I don't know what happened, but I go to the bathroom in the middle of the fair, just I need a bathroom break.
Yeah.
And I go, and I had bled through completely both sides of my shorts. Like it had just missed the pad and hit my shorts.
Because you were being jostled around.
Because I guess, I don't know, but the friends that I were with, they didn't say anything. And I came out of the bathroom and I'm like, oh my gosh, this has happened. And they were like, I saw that. I was trying to stand behind you. And, and so, well, thank you. But really, it would have been more helpful for you to say, we've got an emergency here.
Yeah.
Because then because I was stuck at the fair, but I could have bought a sweatshirt or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
wow.
Anyway.
Every woman in your life has a menstrual cycle.
Yeah.
It's just like, this is not a news flash. Like every woman.
Yeah.
So
let's just
talk a little bit about it, just enough to make everybody okay, so we can work together to take care of one another.
Being in the church for I don't know how many years now, and talking to many different women and hearing older than me women, now that I look back on some conversations that I would have with people or whatever, and they were just kind of over sex and their husbands, and they're kind of just putting up with things. And I would say that's not God's best.
Right.
It's not the best for your marriage. It's not the best for yourself. It's not the best for your spouse. And I think, as I'm moving in from perimenopause into menopause, I'm somewhere in this in-between place that I'm realizing how much in my life is in my control.
That's the truth.
Because there's so many things in my 30s and 40s in raising kids that my life was mostly dictated by their schedules, their needs, putting family and spouse and children first. There was a lot in my life that I felt like was not in my control. And, that's kind of, we could talk about that later and see if I did anything, I could have done anything different. Yeah. But here I am today, and I'm realizing how much is in my control. Like now I get to spend my time how I want.
Yeah.
And now I get to decide how much time I want to spend with my spouse and what do I want that relationship to look like. And even the satisfaction that I get out of my sexual relationship with my husband is in my control.
Yeah.
And really is not only just in my control, but my responsibility.
My responsibility is a great way to say it.
I can't just say, well, it is what it is or whatever. But if I'm not satisfied sexually, that's a conversation to have.
Sure.
That's something to talk about with your spouse, maybe explore with a counselor
Sure.
or
Gynecologist,
whatever. But it is my responsibility. And I can't just say, oh, I've hit that age, so
Right.
I'm done.
Right.
But biblically, this is still a very important part of my marriage and should be just for my benefit, my satisfaction as a sexual being.
Right. I sometimes wonder now, like, there's definitely a stereotypical grumpy older person. And I sometimes just wonder if they're just not taking responsibility for themselves, including sexually. Like, I don't know why. I'm not putting any pressure on myself, but I mean, I have sons that are just about like marrying age. Definitely not Eleanor yet, but like, I want my kids to end up with someone that God has for them. And I want them to be able to look to Brian and I and be like, I want that kind of marriage. And you don't have that kind of marriage that people point to without joy in your eyes when you see one another. And that comes from connection.
Yeah.
From emotional and physical and spiritual connection. And I think, and I don't mean like I'm responsible that my kids are one day satisfied. However, I even think as an older woman in the church now, not only is this about me and Brian, and primarily it is. It primarily, at first and foremost, is about us and our relationship and how we mirror the Lord. But I also think people are looking for someone ahead of them to go like, man, they're doing it. And I think far too many older people in the church just look grumpy.
Yeah.
And I want my eyes to light up when I see Brian. I want to be a mentor and someone that people can look to and go, I want that kind of marriage. And that will not happen without a healthy sex life. And Brian spends a lot of time over the summer. So we're having the summer of sex. And then he spends a lot of time out of town, not intentionally, but because of his Mountain Men organization that he leads. And he actually just got home and we were talking last night. And he said, my season is shifting. I can feel it. My season is shifting in what my role is in Mountain Men, and I want to empower the next generation to do the heavy lifting, and I want to cheer them on. And he said, I don't want to spend this much time away from you again. And I told him, I feel the same way. Something's shifted where it was right for a season, but I was so happy for him to come home. And I think part of it is what I've learned this summer in that, like, you don't just feel happy unless you choose it and you choose to do what it takes to feel happy. And that's communication and that's sex and that's spending time together at meals. And that is so many things that are so much in my control.
Yeah.
And I feel like I might be, although in perimenopause, I might be headed for the best marital season of my life. I just think it's entirely possible.
Yeah.
And I want it for myself, and I want it for Brian, and I want it for all these people that are watching from the outside to know that, like, man, what God has for you far surpasses any season of life, whether you're dropping an egg once a month or not. I mean, like, I want to live a life worthy of the calling that God's placed on my life. And I think, man, there's nothing that shines that brighter than a happy, healthy, satisfied marriage.
Yeah, I agree. You know, here at Church on the Move, we do a small group or mid-sized group called Re-engaged. And if you are at a point in your relationship where you're just like, you know what, I want to stir up these gifts. I want to stir up this relationship. That might be a great next step for you. We're doing that this fall semester at Broken Arrow and West Campus, and then next spring in Tulsa.
Yeah.
That starts in January.
Brian and I helped lead the one in Tulsa last spring, and it is very meaningful. and impactful. And it's all about marriage. It's not just, of course, about your sex life, but I think you would benefit in every area of your marriage if you jumped into one of those groups. Highly, highly recommend it for sure.
Yeah.
But also, Heather, you and I, we did a ton of research for this and for the summer. And I think one of my learnings and one thing that I would tell anyone is do some research yourself. I mean, I went into marriage pretty blind about even what the Word of God said about sex in my marriage, about what science says, about what I don't want to say something too risque, but
no, go for it.
The orgasm gap between men and women is a real thing. Areas of pleasure for men and women are different. And some of these things, I don't think you have to awaken them before it's time. But if you're engaged, if you're getting married, if you're married and you don't know these things, do your own research. Look into this. I would not trust a doctor that says turn to porn for your answers. Are you kidding me? But there is scientific information and research. If you're a female, you can talk to your gynecologist. But there's so much available where I think we sometimes have a little hiccup in this area and don't know what to do. And so we just shut down.
Yeah.
That's not the answer.
Yeah.
That's not the answer. There's research out there. There's books that we've shared all summer. We can drop some of those in our show notes again.
Yeah.
Anything we are looking forward to as we move? We're not ending the podcast. This is just the end of our dedicated season on sex. We'll probably even still talk about it some in the future, but we are going to turn the page because good grief.
Yeah. Who knows what we're going to talk about next month?
We have no idea. It's going to be good, though.
It will be amazing. Thanks so much for joining us for Life in Motion this summer, the summer of sex. If you missed any episodes, please go back and listen to them because I really believe that if you've got everything working perfectly, you probably know somebody that is struggling in some way, or maybe you have children that are coming up. There's something for everyone. Go back and listen. I promise you're going to love it.
You are. And to echo your point, if you think you have it all together, bravo, we applaud you. You might be surprised by some of the questions that we answered throughout the summer because you might not know what other people struggle with. It might be completely normal to you, then we need your help because unfortunately it's not normal to very many people. So I would even say if you have it all together, I especially would love for you to listen and help us help other people in the body of Christ.
Yeah.
So,
all right. Thanks for listening. We'll see you again next month.